Would you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning to everybody. Adam.
Well, I didn't make it to the last meeting to give you guys my June report, but it has been, the month so far has been super busy. This week is more busy so than the rest of the fair going on. I've got crews out there pretty much every night. Saturday night kicked it off. We had the medical tent and extra crews and all. I think we ended up seeing 5 patients. We've already transported 2 from the fairgrounds, so it's going strong. Like I said, a long week ahead of us, but everything's pretty much operations normal. I sent a truck off at the beginning of July for a remount. So that went down to the factory in Missouri. I'm hoping to have that back. They're telling me 90 days, but I'll believe that when I see it. So hopefully around October. Then I've got another new truck on order. But right now the build time on those is almost 800 days. So they're saying middle of 25 is when I get that. Staffing right now is okay. I'm still short, but we are actively seeking. Right now, still covering 3 ALS trucks 24 hours a day. We're exploring some other options. If that comes down to it, we'll always still have 3 trucks. May end up making 1 BLS, but if that happens, I will make sure you guys are aware. But there is no active plans to drop that anytime soon. That's just something we keep on the back burner if we need it. Questions, comments, concerns for me?
Thank you, Adam. Scotty?
The only thing I've got is the new tanker pumper for the Vermillion side is, it will not be here now until, I just got a notice last week that it will not be here until probably May of next year. But we did finally get at least a close destination time. And then I read this morning that the ServPro went through and gave their estimate for the Board of Health building, and I'm sure you guys got all that notice, so a little bit of water damage. So, but everybody's got that kind of a problem right now. But other than that, that's all I've got.
I imagine we'll talk about this Wednesday, but what's the status on the roof? Because there was quite a bit of roof damage.
That we still haven't got the estimate on that. I think Taylor was talking.
Yeah,
trying to
he
get
got
the
a hold of
information.
me and he goes, I think I can help speed this up if I can get a hold of the adjuster. And I got a hold of Jeff Wood. He had the adjuster's name and contact, so
Okay.
thing they said they both use the same estimating software, and he goes, if I can send mine in, I'll just go, he's already done.
Okay.
I'll speed it up.
I
So
hadn't heard anything more from
I haven't
that.
heard back from him, but
He called me and I told him to call you.
Yeah.
Because I knew you probably had it.
so I sent him the information.
So it's tacked back together for now.
Yeah, they've patched it up so it won't hopefully leak.
Was it a pretty old roof?
That was, I'm not sure exactly how.
One of them was put on
truthfully.
maybe 6 or 8 years ago, part of it, not the whole thing.
No, yeah, and that's all they're replacing is the part that wasn't done 6 or 8 years ago.
Yeah,
I think.
right.
Yeah.
The front part.
Monica called me on Friday. She was concerned that they were doing everything correctly as far as the emergency and so forth and getting another bid. We assured her that she could proceed with we have the disaster declaration. The law provides for, in this circumstance, especially considering that it's the health department and mold and everything else, that ServPro go ahead and be told to go ahead and do it.
Okay. I
Yeah.
did read that this morning also, thank you.
All right, the other thing was Dr. Reeker called me, since we're just talking about this, you are going to have a vacancy on the board. Dr. Rico has missed 3 meetings and he's already got a replacement for him. So, I'm sorry, Dr. Shake has missed 3 meetings and I said that wrong. So we've already got somebody in the works. Okay? anything else on the health department while we're there?
I told Scott that I got a hold of Gary Jewell, he's gonna go caulk the windows, stop the leaks on the south side. Say you go around, and I told him, I think there's 3 or 4 on the north side that are in the brick. I said, anything that's in that brick, caulk those, so he got an estimate of $300-some. I said, yeah, I told Monica, I said, she said, go ahead and have him do it, so he's scheduled to do that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Did you happen to talk to him about the building?
Diamond?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him, get down there, and he goes, what do you wanna do? And I said, you make it look good.
Yeah.
Because he gave me a couple options, and he goes, I was waiting to hear it, and I said, no, just go ahead and do it, and put the
cameras
thresholds
are-
in.
Camera's all in, the network's all in, everything is in, while we're talking about that. Donnie finally got back to me on their vacation of that site totally. And I don't have the right date in front of me, but it's mid-September.
Okay.
The end of the second week in September, they'll be gone.
Okay.
So, at that point, then we can deal with it.
Okay.
Which leads into a couple of things I just left on. And don't hold me to this totally, but the tax bills are gonna be due September 8th and October 3rd or 4th. I'm sorry, November 3rd or 4th,
September 8th?
and November 3rd, I believe. Whatever the Friday is. November, what's the Friday? Or the 3rd. 3rd, that's it. Okay, so they're proceeding with that. I also had a letter to read before we go to the report. It says, Dear Edgar County Board, the Edgar County Historical Society wishes to send their sincere thanks for the way you are taking care of the Edgar County Courthouse. It is a beautiful historic structure and needs to be preserved. We are very thankful that you are taking prompt action to repair and restore it as needed. Since we feel most people are quick to let you know that when they disapprove of your actions, we wanted to let you know that your work is truly appreciated. On behalf of the entire board of the Edgar County Historical Society, I'll pass this around, and then I think Augie should wind up with it. Do we have anybody else before we get into reports?
Jeff, sorry. I didn't mention, this is the beginning of the month, but I know a couple of you sat in on the ESDA debrief from the storm, but we ended up setting up the emergency oxygen center out at the fire training grounds. Worked very well. I'll give kudos to the health department for staffing that. I think I took about 35 phone calls over the course of the 3 days. We ended up seeing 13 patient contacts with 8 different patients. Definitely had some takeaways from it, but overall, I think it worked very well. No,
Andy, your report, I did want to let you know that Michael's going to call us at about 10 o'clock to review masonry and repairs. So, just in case you were, wanting to know where we were at on that, okay?
Insurance? Yeah, we got our health insurance quote back for Kurt. Originally came back at 13% increase.
It was 11
Was
points.
it 11?
Whatever, it was,
Yeah, it was, and then he's now come back with a 2% increase.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
and then you talked to him about some other options
Yeah,
that you're.
and I wanna get together with the
Yeah,
insurance
that's coming
committee,
back.
discuss what our options are as far as if we can look at, I asked him, what do you do about adding spouses? And he goes, everybody asks me the same question. He goes, there's no magic thing out there. He goes, it's just expensive to do that. So I don't know, we need to maybe discuss, maybe there's some people that don't want the front load HSA account and they'd rather have that. I don't know. There's different ways to play the shell game maybe and see if we can't come up with something that the employees either like a little better or what we can do with what we got. So the insurance committee, I think, are you on the insurance committee? You and you get together, afterwards we'll set up a time. So as far as buildings,
Can we stop for a second?
yeah,
On insurance, we had a meeting with the hospital and Dick James, the sheriff, and, well, representatives. There's been a change in Medicaid, and we have to bill, we can't, if we take a prisoner out to the hospital, in the past, what they've done is run it through Medicaid, or what, if they have their own private insurance, the hospital does that. Okay? And if ambulance, whatever it happens to be. The law has changed and the procedures have changed. We have to do it ourselves. Now, I'm just gonna give you an example, is the hospital bills us $100 for a prisoner because we took them out there for treatment. As long as it's not pre-existing or self-inflicted, which they will take care of, they would bill us the $100. We would turn around through a third party, which they're arranging for now, a third party, to get Medicaid, for example. Medicaid is paying 17 cents on the dollar right now. So we owe the hospital $100. We get Medicaid adjustment to 17. They will accept the 17 as payment for the $100, just like they would have to do for themselves.
now that, do we pay a service to the?
We're gonna have to pay a small percentage, I don't know that yet, we're trying to find out, to that third-party receiver of the bills, and then they will handle it with the hospital and collecting from Medicare. Keep us up to date on all the rules and regs. So, and we don't have anybody on staff that's really trained or has the time. We're a small agency, so, you know, in that regard. So if there's any questions that you have or want me to clarify, I will be happy to, but I wanted to let you know that's coming down the pike, effective, I think, September 1st. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I guess Guido needed another job or something. That's-
Well, we
sends
have
it out
5 or
at
6
more.
claims a month of that,
Yeah,
so,
So in most cases, it's just gonna cost us 17% of whatever the bill is.
correct.
plus
Now,
some
if
sort
they-
of
Plus the fee.
administrative
Right.
cost.
And if they have their own insurance, they will process that, but that's the way it's set up.
No, I think that's, I mean, as far as buildings, there's a lot going on, but I don't know whether.
I see Rowdy's just about done down
Yeah, he is.
town.
I actually thought about contacting him last week, and I didn't get a chance to. I was busy, so.
He's out at the hospital on Jasper Street, working now. Last Friday he was, there by Wendy's.
Oh, at that new facility?
Yeah.
Well, it's not new, but, yeah.
The old Dollar General.
Okay.
Sounds like you better,
Better get on him, because he told me when he was done at the bank, we were next, but I'll see what he says.
It looked like a small job probably.
Okay, I'll get with him.
in the house, you know. Okay. Dan, how are things out?
I stopped by Friday, I think they're down to 9 Huskies. They have gotten rid of 11, I think. I think they had a couple of others spoken for. So they were getting a lot of donations and food. People are helping.
Yeah, they were at 26 or 28,000 in donations the last, okay, and they were gonna start using
Right.
some of those, because Andrea called me to make sure, verify the figures. Okay, so,
They were out on the way to pick up a female dog and 8 pups when I was out there, so we'll fill up the shelter again. I told them they're doing a great job, so everything's
it's a good
okay.
thing she likes dogs and cats.
Pardon?
It's a good thing she likes dogs and cats.
Didn't have cats, I take all the cats.
I'm just saying, I was just gonna say, you like her cats
Yeah.
more than she.
I've got 2 litters, you want 'em?
No, we're up to 29 down on Union Street, so.
Cats?
29? 29. People dropping them off, there was Siamese, there's no way what we have down there can have Siamese kittens. So people dropping off the cats, because they know we feed them. So the lady comes in Main Street about once a month, she'll give me $50 for cat foods, really nice.
Yeah.
think.
Well, as long as you enjoy it.
Yeah, I catch-
Just be careful, I don't want you to look like you've been clawed to death.
That's my cat at home, she bites. Friendly
And
nibble.
you'd think you could get along with that one.
Well, it's just friendly, it's a friendly bite. No, it's fun, I enjoy it.
Has she got her 2 doors in yet?
She got, all the doors are fixed.
All the doors are
Yeah,
fixed,
all the
okay.
doors are in.
And she's got her phone?
Got it.
Yeah.
The lady that's helping her, she's the coach of the equestrian team at St. Mary's of the Woods.
Oh, that's nice.
The young lady, she's
She
really,
knows about cats.
really good. Yeah. Need any cats, I can get you some.
No,
No,
fine.
I told her she's doing a great job, so. yeah.
We have 3 black vehicles in a gray truck. And we have 3 black cats in a gray truck. Or gray cat. We got 3 black cats.
So
Matches.
matches vehicles.
They each have their own vehicle.
Yeah. One of the story, I go to St. Mary's Church on Saturday evening, and there's a guy that parks his vehicle way out in the parking lot. But when he gets to, church is over, there's 2 cats out there and wait for him to come out and feed him. Every Saturday. I don't know how they know it's Saturday, but they have to come out and meet him in the middle of the parking lot. 2
Well, they
cats.
probably
They
look
go
out
there
for
every
every
day.
day.
Pardon?
They go there every day, he's just not there all the time.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
tough.
Any
Tough,
question to
man.
Dan or anything?
Doing a great job, so that's all it is.
Russ?
Supposed to have had a quote for the bars, the doors, the exit devices. I just did get the email sent to Michael to make sure this will work. Haven't had a chance to check that yet. Hoping for color samples before we make a decision. So, maybe by the 7th he can have us a quote. Maybe as a color sample we can
Make a
decision.
Okay, good.
Carl?
No.
I saw your picture in the paper, you look pretty good.
Twice it was in the paper.
Yeah.
Twice, yeah, geez. How you rate that?
I was gonna bring a picture from 30 years ago when I was sheriff. The Beacon took a picture of the scales that
Oh,
blew off the courthouse, and we found them out in the yard. And they got a picture of that.
Hmm.
I was gonna bring, show you how young I looked back then.
Yeah.
I had a question, and Michael asked this. You saw the finial that's made out of copper. Is that what you wanna do? So they can finish doing those.
Do we actually have it, or do we just have a picture of it?
No, it's up there, it's up on top.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
I haven't been back up there since.
Okay. Last time I was up there, they showed it to me, it was up on top.
Well, they need a decision, so
I haven't looked at it.
Is it as thick as the one that was up there?
it's thicker.
It's thicker.
Oh, yeah, it's more durable.
It'll be the only one that's copper, though?
Yeah.
How many are there?
What
Here's
size?
the copper. There'll be- There's
16.
there's 16, no, there's 8.
Eight of
There's
them.
2, it's 1 for 2 dormers.
That would look like
They
that's
took, they
copper.
took, they took down the ones on the other
No,
side?
they'll all be copper.
Okay, okay.
They took the ones down on the other
And
side then?
whether it's 8 or 16, that's what it
It's
is.
8.
Okay.
What's that?
They took down the ones on the other side then?
They haven't yet.
Because they brought 8 out here.
No, there's 2.
They said they brought more, they said, but maybe not.
Well,
Okay,
I don't know, it doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't really
Okay.
matter. It's fine.
What we want, I
Yeah.
guess. I haven't seen them, so I just heard you guys talk about, and then there was something, I don't remember now what the issue was.
It's just, it's not a.
Well, it's not the same. I mean,
It's not the same.
They're not
It's just
the
not
same.
the
It's
full representation of.
It doesn't look like the same one.
It's not.
But from
I don't
200
know.
feet, I don't
Yes,
know.
from the ground,
yeah.
it'll look all right.
I hate to say that. You and I had, isn't that
Yeah.
what we had the
Yes.
conversation?
I've had 2 independent people look at it and they said it looks okay.
Okay.
But somehow we need to give them a high sign or
Okay.
whatever. So I'll leave that up to you guys to let me know so I can pass that on.
I mean, ideally, would I like it a
No,
little more craftsmanship on it? Yes. Can we afford more craftsmanship? I don't think so.
although
Right, it's definitely structurally sound, it's well built.
Right.
it's gonna
It's
be
well
there
It's gonna last.
when my kids are having
trying to find you the
I
picture.
was had to draw the line there somewhere, though.
Sure.
Back when they made those others, labor was probably $5 a,
Well, actually, I bet you time-wise, it probably takes longer to make the new one than it does the old one, but not as much love.
those guys, there was
Did you see all the bins in that, though?
the old one.
No, the new
The new
one.
one, yeah,
I
that's
mean, it's
pretty.
just,
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't some squirrel doing that.
No. There's a lot of work to it, and there's interior work on the old one that's not on, or on the new one that's not on the old one.
Right.
They
Well,
supported.
regardless of that fact, they're both craft made.
Yes, they're,
One of them, you just can't do anymore.
can't afford to be.
Can't afford to.
I'm sure there's people out there that restore these old buildings all the time that could do it.
We do need to highlight those somewhere, though. Whether it's a display, a glass display, or something, we need to show those old ones off in some way.
Hopefully, maybe some of the other ones are a little nicer shape.
They make one, we can put them on display, kind of like these do Matt Dillon's boots.
Okay. Phil, you got anything?
Did you,
Okay. Lisa?
so I was kind of zoomed in more at the top. There's
Health
the-
board meets Wednesday, they
the base.
reschedule it to this coming week,
Base.
current week.
Perfect.
Jeff and I met with Jessica Key to discuss payroll and
Good.
HR and her position and make sure that she and us were on the same page about what the position's expectations were. So we had some good constructive conversation and we're gonna meet with her again on Thursday.
I think one of the biggest things that we are exploring is training. And we don't do,
Training for
Any.
staff, plus her, but training for entire staff.
consistency in what everybody's doing, as well as the other duties. Okay. Go ahead. I wanna let you know we got a $6,200 bill from Brokaw for the solar review and the wind power review. So we're gonna process that, but we did get that, I don't know, it was $6,250 or something like that, so. And it was all itemized.
Okay, great.
At any rate, that's being processed. Augie, nothing new. Tax bills,
Don's got them.
any issues or anything?
At this point, no.
Okay.
One thing I forgot, on the health department, I know we were talking about it the other day, Dusty got down there and took care of it.
He did get down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I noticed that.
who was gonna check on the gutter? Do we have,
Did she hire, she had mentioned that she was interviewing someone, did she hire someone to do maintenance down there on?
It says on there, but I don't have a clue on who it is yet.
Okay.
She was gone last week.
well,
Right.
you got a meeting this week?
Wednesday.
We'll talk about it and make sure someone's gonna check on the gutter and see what, there has to be an issue there, but I don't know what it is.
Be on the, you know where I'm talking about, on the, that would be the southwest corner.
Yeah.
Now, John
Where it's been
Tingley,
dumping over.
when they did my roof, John can make, he's got seamless gutter that he can make.
Used to.
No, he just did it for me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he doesn't, if you call him up and you want him to do it, you're not gonna get it done.
Got you.
You're gonna get a call Rainbow.
Okay.
But-
I was gonna say, because I know he used to do it, and then he's told me he got rid of it, so.
Well, he's got.
He still kept it?
Yes.
Okay.
They damaged when they put my roof on my gutter and he brought it out and replaced it, so.
We'll just have someone get on a
Yeah.
ladder and see
And what I'm saying.
It might be
is-
Council
something
deal,
up
when
or
he
something, I don't know.
does the roof, he can
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah.
Just as long as we don't, geez, I just told everybody on camera.
Right, I was thinking that.
And
John's
newspaper.
gonna call me up. John's gonna call me up. Oh my gosh, all right,
You're writing it down now.
yeah. Budgets will go out to all department heads and elected officials after the tax bills have been mailed out. The tax bills will be mailed out by August 8th. Okay? So that's what they're doing. And of course, I already gave you the bill time. So I don't know of anything else. We could try to call Michael and see if he can talk to us right now.
He's supposed to call in 3 minutes. Just relax.
Yeah, we can just relax.
He's got, he used to
If
call
you're
us.
standing right ground, that's kind of the view where you would see. I don't think that'll, it'll look fine.
Oh, I know what I was gonna talk about, the solar tree, is labor. Labor negotiations with the unions.
That one.
The what is it, SRO, there's the resource officer for Shiloh, that agreement is being finalized. They sent it over as them paying, benefits and everything.
I saw it.
And I said, look, that's not the way it was negotiated. Somehow, the school district's attorney sent the stuff over incorrectly.
I
So
saw
they're-
there was something wrong there.
Right, so they're getting that straightened out. And then the memorandum of understanding for the two unions should be forthcoming, so we can act on everything at the August meeting. Okay, I just wanna make everybody aware of that. And I keep pressing them to find out when we're gonna start negotiations. And they go, my gosh, Jeff, let's finish up what we got going. I said, well, that stuff should have been finished already.
Yeah, that was something simple.
Yeah,
Shouldn't have
no,
mattered.
but he reminded him that, me that they have other, both the union and he have other clients. I said, I don't care. We were laughing. I said, Rick, you know, that's fine. So, at any rate, just to bring you up to date there. Yes, I can see a question on your brow. No? All right.
Was Josh gonna set something up, or are you just gonna do it
I'm
on
just
your
gonna
phone?
call.
You want Josh in here to phone?
Yeah, I will in a second.
Let me get him a heads up.
Your call has been.
Well, I will tell you while we're waiting, I did attend the farmland assessment meeting. I still don't understand it any better than I did before the meeting.
You don't understand the state's formula?
I just don't grasp any of that at all. Math's not my forte, but I'm not thinking it was really that hard of math. I'm thinking it's the overall concept that's
Well, it's the
Strange
weighting
beast.
that they do. If
Yeah.
it was just a straight out formula, that would be fine. But then they throw in the weight.
Yeah, and it just, I need a tutorial from Gina, cause it just, I don't get it. But anyway, there was good turnout there, the regulars that usually attend. Tim Hansel was there, so that
I
was
couldn't be
good.
there, so.
Is Tim on that committee now?
Yeah. He replaced John Chittick.
That's good. I mean, John was fine, but I mean, it's good that,
It's good to have somebody
Yeah.
down there. And they said, the other two were like, well, we didn't get any notice that we were still on here until we got the invitation. I said, don't you know you're just there till you die or you say you want on?
Did you guys? did
hello,
you re-
Michael.
Hi there.
How are you? You're at a study session. I don't know whether you've got anything you can tell us, but we appreciate any information that you have that could bring us up to date. We have some guests here. Gary's here, so go for it.
Okay, I got information from Core's masonry contractor on the extent of the, trying to graphically describe what they're doing for repairs. And I started to look through that. I was out all day in the field on Wednesday, and Friday I had a vacation day, so I'm planning to finish looking this up here today. But in general, on the small dormers, when they priced in, I believe it was their 111,000 fee for masonry repairs on the south side that they're working on, there's 8 of those small dormers. They believe from their on-site review that they have to rebuild the upper half of all 8. And so that means, where there's the vent in the small dormer, halfway up the vent, they have to rebuild the upper part. So it's in a state now where the mortar has deteriorated to the point where there's not much holding it together. And it was probably just the roofing tar from the previous roof that's holding it together. They're going to rebuild that and then repoint the lower half of each one of those. So that seemed to be pretty good news that they're not having to completely rebuild each one of those. And then on and I'll forward these 2 documents onto you guys. For the 2 large dormers on the south side, they believe, based upon what they've seen, they only need to be repointing the masonry there as well. So that's good. They'll still be installing the tie rod that we designed. Actually, the large dormers get 3 tie rods. The small dormers get 1 tie rod. On the masonry arches that you have, there's 4 of those on the corners of the building. It's an arch surrounded by 2 tall vertical piers. They are going to be, based on what they're able to see, those are all in a stable condition where they believe they can just repoint those without having to rebuild them. So that's the scope of work that they have for the south side. And so based upon those conditions, they feel that the north side will probably be similar. That's why there's those 2 numbers from the north and the south, both at about 111,000 for the masonry. Also, for those dormers that we discussed, on the inside of the attic, there's repointing that needs to be done. And that was discussed in our Klinger repair drawing. And they also are noting that here on their scope explanation sheet, including just a little bit of work along the gutter right over the south side of the building. So I have a better feel for now what the $111,000 amount is representing now that their contractor did a nice job putting pictures together key to the drawing and highlighting areas of where their work is going to be. So I will forward that on to you folks.
All right. Is Audubon, are they figuring on starting soon? Or what decisions does the board still have to make?
I need to confirm that with Core because I was thinking about that over the weekend to see where we at with getting Audubon started. Because there was the allowance for masonry repairs already in the contract, and Audubon was going to be working with that work in case something came up. And obviously this is the thing that came up. And so per the board's direction previously, the board has indicated they would like to start using the allowance, the contingency allowance that's already in the current agreement to start with. And then anything above and beyond that, which this will be above and beyond, but at least we start with the contingency we have in place. So I will be contacting Corps today. I've got a meeting scheduled with them this afternoon to find out what step do they need. Do they need something formal to get Audubon going? We know Audubon should be starting here right about August 1st, but I want to confirm with them, what do they need to make sure everything continues to move forward here. And it's my understanding the roofer was close to finishing up as much as he could here on the roof before August. And so I think at some point we'll need some direction once we get this clarification on the last of the pricing from Corps, which I think included a little bit on scaffolding that you guys had questions on. We'll need to decide, do we want to, which of those two repair options do we want to be doing? The repairs are all the same. It's just a matter of, do we get more scaffolding out now, or do we work with all the scaffolding that we have on site?
Michael, I would like to point out that the masonry is an allowance, not a contingency.
Yeah, well, it's in as an allowance, and it was labeled, I believe, as a masonry contingency.
Okay, well,
So
because
if
there
something
is,
came up masonry related, they would draw from that. But the allowance is money that belongs, it's monies from the owner set aside within the project,
right,
but it returns to the owner when it gets unspent.
okay.
So they had set it aside for masonry repair work. If I misused the word contingency, I apologize.
No, I just meant, because there is an additional 66,000 for contingency, I believe, on top of that.
Yes, they have a couple of allowances set aside, whether one's set directly for masonry. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going off my
That's
memory.
fine.
I think there's one for masonry, there's one for general contingency, and there's also one for what they call a design contingency, in case during the course of the work, we find something else that needs to have a change of scope. So they got three funds there to help with. Now the sum total of those three don't necessarily add up to the amount that what they were proposing for the masonry repairs, but it definitely helps take a chunk out of it.
Okay. And then, have you heard anything on the repair from the storm?
So my structural engineer was able to stop out on site, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. He was going on vacation out east, so he was gracious enough to make a side trip and stop in. And then he was hiking in the Appalachian Mountains for all of last week, so I got a hold of him today, talked to him. There are some remedial repairs that need to be done within the attic of the roof. Those are things that are not necessarily storm related, they're probably more age and water infiltration related. And so we'll get that documented into the storm report that I'm writing. We'll combine our two reports together. He did not see anything structurally of concern when he was going up in the clock tower, going up all the way up, I think, to the clock level. The only one thing he saw that's not necessarily storm related, but age related, is one of the sections of stairs that winds up the clock tower. The stringer on the side of the stair, one of the frame members, is starting to pull loose. It's all nailed connections, and it's pulling loose over time. So he will provide a repair for that, and also repairs for the other age-related repairs for things in the attic. So we'll have our storm-related report put together this week to send to you guys and to the insurance company. And we can do this one of two ways, since we observed things that were both storm damage related and non-storm damage related. It's much easier for us to compile everything into just one report and state which things we believe, in our opinion, are related to the storm and which items are not. And that's fairly common for insurance work, because they know when, particularly older buildings, there's inspections being done. they tend to find things that are storm related, event related, and that existing conditions aren't necessarily event related. So I just wanted to make sure the board's aware when they get that report, there'll be both of those in there. And we'll make sure to group all the storm related items together. But in general, the structure of the tower is looking in good condition. We have noted, both myself and my structural engineer, that the metal panels on the outside appear to have, obviously we know they pulled loose and flopped out on the south side of the tower. I'm seeing similar conditions where that's starting to pull loose on the other sides of the clock tower. And so that'll all be documented within our report.
Any questions?
And
Oh, sorry.
I believe the Corps was going to be sending their carpenter out for the temporary plywood that they put up onto the building. They pretty much just kind of screwed that in to the framing, but I believe they're going to send someone out to beef that up and put a brace on the back side of it, so that way it's kind of attached all the way through the structure so it doesn't get blown off in another storm, just as a precaution.
Okay. Questions?
So when are we going, with all the additional damage or repair work that has to be done, when are we gonna get a final figure on all that?
The end of the
I'll
week.
know that when I talk to
Okay.
Corps this afternoon.
Okay, all right.
My call with them, let me just pull my calendar here. Call with them today is supposed to be at 2:30.
Okay.
And then also related to the storm, your airport hangar had some damage to it, and so my structural engineer also set time to go look at that. Thanks to Josh for getting him out there. And based upon what he was able to see, I'm going to get my directions mixed up here. Is it the north or the south end that was damaged? I think that the north. I don't know if Josh is there at the room or not, but whatever
North.
end of the dam. What's that?
North end.
North end.
Okay, that section is pretty much to the point where it just needs to be demolished and rebuilt. Each of the long hangar is subdivided into individual stalls for the airplanes, and those subdividing walls are stud walls framed into the building. It's what we call a pre-engineered wood frame building. It's like a pole barn, so it's all wood structure inside, and there is a pretty robust stud wall framed in between each of the airplanes, and that was sheathed over with plywood. So based upon, but he could only get into the section that was damaged. They didn't have key access into any of the other parts of the hangar to look any section besides where it was damaged. So he feels that's going to have to be a rebuild of the damaged section. Generally, he's thinking everything south of there should be in okay condition, because we're not seeing anything structurally showing up on the outside of the building, like bent metal panels or so forth. And so in his report on that building, he'll be noting that he was able to get into only a portion of the building, and there will need to be a follow-up visit. And that follow-up visit, I'll be coming down to Edgar County here in the next week or so. So I'll coordinate with Josh to see if we can get key access into those other sections, and I can take a look to see if we have anything beyond that. So we'll have the airport hangar as a separate report for you guys. We'll keep that separate from the courthouse.
I think and I'm speaking for the board, I hope correctly, back on the repairs and or the masonry, we want to be able to know what we need to make as far as a decision, so that we can not interrupt anything more than we have to, so the work can proceed, so that we can still complete this year. Is that right, folks?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So what I'll do is I'll send a follow-up message to Corps, I guess before our 2:30 meeting. And if I'm gonna try and repeat what you said. So generally, we want them to, we know for sure on the south side of the building where they're at right now with the scaffold, they need to get that scaffold modified to build some towers around the dormers they have to do work on. So what's not clear to me at the moment is all the scaffold out there on site, does that stay and then they just add on more sections of tower where they need to work on it? That was kind of my general understanding. Because I believe no matter what, we have to do that, whether we add more scaffolding or we just use the set of scaffolding out there. So it'd be my thought process that you want to make sure Core knows that they should just go ahead and pull the trigger on at least getting the south side tower scaffolding work in order, so that way we have that going, and then you'll be deciding here, presumably this week, whether or not you're going to use all the scaffolding that's on site plus a little bit of extra, or have a second half of scaffolding come out.
Right.
And they're supposed to be sending us a drawing of the staging so we can get a better picture of when they do the work on the north side. You know, they got a big staging area set on the south side. When we talked to them, I believe it was last week, they weren't entirely sure what their staging plan was for the north, but they thought it was going to be on the south side, particularly with that crane that will come out. So I'll be checking to make sure I have that information so I can give you guys a full update this afternoon.
I'd like to know when that crane, if you can give me a rough idea when it's gonna be there. Cause I'd like to coordinate the clock fixtures at the same time that crane's there.
Sure. I was kind of under the impression that I think the crane was going to be coming, not necessarily in the first half. I think it was going to be coming more in the second half of the original project. For some reason, September sounds like what I thought was said, but I don't know if Core knew entirely. They were trying to get that information from whatchamacallit, Kryling, the roofer.
Okay. Okay.
And I believe you had said, Andy, that the last time you had work done on Lady Justice up at the top, the train sat on the south side of the street.
Yes.
South side of the courthouse, which
Yep.
makes sense because the north side of the courthouse has that overhead power line. And I don't think they'd want to be working anywhere near that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, well, would you coordinate all this stuff through Josh, like as usual, and then, so we can get the information out to the board as it comes in, okay?
Yes, I will do.
Michael, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
I think we're good. You take care. Appreciate your time.
Okay. Yes, thank you all, and I'll be in touch this afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you. Okay.
Josh, did you ever get with, I suppose it'd be Core, as far as the difference between having all the scaffolding and just half and half,
You mean timeline or what?
dollar wise?
It was only, I think it was about $20,000 difference, I think is what they said.
Was that at 20,000? Didn't we give them the okay, go ahead and do that?
I think they were only talking like it was only gonna change your timeline about 2 weeks, but I don't know if that's really reasonable or not on them, so.
But
And my understanding is too, on the crane, originally it was planned to come absolutely last. They would be done with everything else and
And
then
then
the crane would show up, whether that'll change now with the other repair work or not, but that was their original plan.
well, we can
Timeline
get all
wise,
of that.
but that could have changed
Yeah.
with everything going
We'll
on.
get everything updated so everybody's on the same
Coordinate
page.
the crane with.
Because I think they were gonna use some of that same area that got all blocked off to put the crane in,
Okay. That would make sense, okay.
but it could have changed, so.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? I think Russ got you this time.
Yeah.
Russ got it, and then Andy seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you all. Take care. Thank you, Josh.
No problem.